Hello, could you please tell us who you are and what you do?
Sure. My name is Angel Silvestrini. I'm an attorney. I'm licensed to practice law here in the state of Massachusetts, as well as in New York, Connecticut, Florida, and Puerto Rico. And I'm an attorney of law with general practice, and I have practiced federal litigation.
Thank you. I have a few questions I would like to ask you about laws concerning sexual harassment and other things.
Go ahead, shoot.
Could you please explain what Title IX is?
Sure. Title IX is a federal law designated with the purpose of enforcing limitations and prohibitions to discrimination or discriminatory acts in an educational setting. So basically, the point is no discrimination in an institution of higher education that gets or receives financial aid from the federal government.
Thank you. What about Title VII?
Title VII is a federal law that's in the books since 1964, and it's designed to prevent discrimination on the basis of gender, sex, nationality, and other protected groups. And it's a larger scale, and it's not limited to educational institutions. And it applies to all the states as well as the Title IX, because there's a dual system in place where federal law in certain circumstances overshadows or what's called preempts state law, and that's why Title IX and Title VII needs to be taken care of in the states.
Thank you. And the Clery Act, what is it?
The Clery Act is a federal law that's designated, or the purpose of, for institutions of higher education to report discrimination or criminal cases or criminal statistics. They must publish that if they also receive financial aid. So basically, it's colleges and universities need to report these statistics for people to take advantage of and to think about before enrolling in a university.
Thank you. So we've talked about discrimination. Now, how about bothering people with sexual jokes or implementations? Are there any laws that prohibit that? If so, what are they called?
Every state has laws that prevent sexual harassment, sexual discrimination, bullying. That's under Massachusetts law. But as it pertains to Title IX, Title IX only covers educational institutions of higher education, meaning colleges and universities. And Title VII applies to everything but in the workplace. So within the state and the federal statutes, you'll see protection against sexual discrimination for everyone.
Thank you. Moving on. From a scale of 1 to 10, how big of a problem do you think sexual harassment is?
It's a huge problem. It's a huge problem, and it's a problem of culture, meaning that people are used to treating others incorrectly and illegally, and it's very difficult for victims to come forward because they fear retaliation from from the employers or other people in the workplace, etc. So it becomes a difficult situation where it keeps going on, it keeps happening, but they can't stop because it's difficult to prevent. And that actually brings me to another point. Title VII is a very large statute that covers a lot of areas, but one of the differences between Title IX and Title VII is Title IX, you can bring a lawsuit directly against someone that discriminates against you in an educational setting without having to go through extra steps. And under Title IX, the institution can also lose federal funding if the federal government pursues a defunding action against them. Versus Title VII, when someone is discriminating against you in an employment relationship, at that point you have to go through an extra layer of information, which is you have to go to the Equal Opportunity Employer Commission, what's called the EEOC, which is an administrative body, and they investigate the claim of discrimination. If they find that there's discrimination, then they'll issue you a letter stating that you can sue that person or that employer. And that means that that's an extra step. So Title IX, you don't have that extra step. Title VII, you do. So it's more work for the victim and their attorneys to deal with.
So you said that you could file a lawsuit for someone. Do you think people know that that sexual harassment is legal?
I think a lot of people don't know. I think it's very important that on every level of education, including elementary, middle school, high school, classes are put in place, information is given out to everybody, so they understand that there are certain things you can't do in a regular setting, and it's important for people to understand that even a comment here, a comment there, if they are taken together completely, let's say in what's called the aggregate, then that can become a very problematic issue and can become, what's called a hostile work environment or hostile education environment, where you can actually fall into one of these categories in terms of Title VII and Title IX.
So if they know that it's illegal, why do you think people would still sexually harass people?
Sexual harassment is an issue of power. And the people that have power tend to want to oppress and control others that don't have the power. And it's a learned response. It's a learned situation where those people, their brains are wired in a way that they feel comfortable putting down other people, discriminating against them, treating them differently because they fall within one of these protected groups. And it's important that we change the culture right now. So we have conversations like this where we talk about sexual discrimination, talk about you cannot bring comments, you can't mistreat people that way, and understand that you can get into real trouble if you continue and you do this. I think the education now is important, so when people enter the workplace, they'll understand that not to engage in that type of behavior.
Thank you so much for your time. I'm sure we learned a lot from this interview.
My pleasure.